How are you, Marv?
Good, Rich. How you doing? A lot of production value that you have supplied here.
Yes, you know what? I just want to just do next level material, Marv, knowing that I need to raise my game. But we did just for our television audience, and I don't know if you heard, well, because you were kind of calling on time and on early, and I was late because I was chit-chatting with Brent Musburger about the whole sports gambling stuff. That we just played some of the old Albert Achievement Awards from the Dave Letterman days.
I did hear it, yes. I miss Dave so much being on the air. I do catch the Netflix show, which is terrific, the one-on-one interviews. But even though there are a lot of good people on, I just miss his brand of humor and the way he, handles the culture and the political situation in general.
Did you ever do that with Johnny Carson before Dave, Marv?
I did one Carson show, which was one of the great thrills of my life, and he was tremendous, to sit down and talk to, because he would. I like Dave. He was one of Dave's major heroes. He would just set you up so well, and I recall the show because it was a pretty good group on the couch. It was Jerry Seinfeld, Julio Iglesias, and here I come. So that's like, what am I doing here? But it was terrific, and he and Ed McMahon made it just so easy. And we played some clips of the Wild and the Wacky, and he couldn't have been a better host. He was just terrific, and he's a big sports fan, so it was such a kick for me.
So you're saying if just to go left to right on the couch, Ed, because he went all the way to the end, Jerry, Julio, Marv, Johnny. Is that the way it went?
That was the lineup. Yes. That was it. Yeah.
We call that the Burbank Five, Marv.
That's of course. Yeah. But as I said, it was a real thrill, because you grew up watching Johnny Carson for years. Even as a kid, I remember going he had a quiz show called Who Do You Trust? Mm-hmm. And, you could see his ad-libbing and his comedic feel. And I remember coming into the city with my parents to go to the show several times. So I was always a major fan of Johnny Carson.
You were facing the crowd, huh?
I was, yes.
Yes. Man, and then you got on that. Well, anyway, I always enjoyed showing the Wild and the Wacky that you did on David Letterman. That was always a lot of fun. We started with a little bit of memory lane with Letterman, and I'd love to end it with Jordan, who's with ESPN today, made an announcement in Netflix. There's going to be a 10-hour documentary on Jordan's end game of his career.
Oh, great.
And the whole conversation of Jordan versus LeBron right now. What is, for those who would basically sit here and say LeBron's the greatest of all time and what he's doing in his generation is, what's the one Jordan story you would tell about his competitive spirit and championship quality that you saw in person to I guess, level the generational playing field here?
The toughness of Michael Jordan, aside from his skills, is what stands out. And the game that stands out to me is one we did at NBC, was the flu game, where in Utah, where people we knew about it before the game, so it was able to be weaved into the storyline. People in the stands did not realize, even when he was during timeouts, helped to the sideline by teammates. I remember Pippen and others carrying him to the sideline, and he had a sensational game, and you could see how exhausted, dehydrated he was, and they went on, led by Michael, to defeat the Jazz. That to me personifies, in terms of his toughness. The other thing that strikes me, he always, and I know LeBron is like this too, kind of needs something motivational, but Michael was, took it to the next level. He could be annoyed by a woman sitting courtside in Cleveland who might have, just said something innocently, and then every time he'd score, he'd look, there'd be no bad language, but he'd look over at her and kind of give her the business. anything would motivate him. And he had this incredible will to win, which I know is easy to say because every player says they have this incredible will to win. But there was nothing like that. And, you know, it's hard to compare the two because they played it in different eras with different rules. I think if Michael played today, his numbers would be even higher because you don't have the hand checking and you don't have the physical play on, an everyday basis. So it's tough to compare them. I know they took 6 championships to 3 and all that stuff. But there's something about the makeup of Jordan and how much every game meant to him, not that it doesn't to LeBron, that I still think there's a slight edge to Jordan. Even though what LeBron is doing now, particularly at his age and playing the kind of minutes he's playing, is just, it's incredible.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.